is a class diagram, if you remember. Okay. So suppose, for example, we need to represent something like this, a situation where we have business partner. Business partner is made up of customer and then suppliers, isn't it? Using inheritance. So using a class diagram, how will we represent? So this is the layout of how we can write. We have talked about the linking, no? Like a document will have a paragraph will have a line. So one document can have many paragraphs, then one paragraph can have many lines. So something like that. Then in composition also, it's a more stricter form of aggregation. We said when the whole part is created, okay, the parts are created and then the whole is destroyed. So suppose, for example, let's say based on the item, there will be big like orders, isn't it? So once the item is delivered, the order process is also over. All right. So for items, there is order. If there are no items, there is no order for any kind of item. Okay. Then, okay, then for example, if I have to represent any kind of situation, like for example, this we have a situation. Suppose a business partner may be a customer or a supplier, or it may be a both. Okay. So we have to design a model such that this kind of situation is satisfied. So a business partner might become a customer as well as a supplier, change from one to another also. Okay. So for example, there is a business house. So let's say I'm the person. So I can be a consumer, I can be a customer, or I can be again a seller or a supplier to someone else. Okay. So in such cases, to represent such kind of model, we prefer aggregation basically. Okay. So here a business partner is a customer if it is an aggregated customer object. Okay, so everything we show that is in the form of an object. Object means any kind of real instance, isn't it, that we have? Then similarly, a supplier is also aggregated as a supplier object and a customer supplier if it has both. Okay, so here, suppose a business partner can be two things. He can business partner can be in from two approaches. One is that he can be a customer, or if he can be a supplier, or he can be both. So in this kind of scenario, what we do is we classify them as a kind of an object, like customer object, supply object, and if suppose he's both, then it will be customer supplier object. Okay. How do we show this kind of business aggregation model? Okay, so representation, so business partner is there. He can be a customer, he can be a supplier, or he can be both also. So this way, we are representing each of them are what? They are objects. Then similarly, if suppose it means to happen that the business partner, one business partner can be linked to many customers, one business partner can be linked to many suppliers. So that multiplicity is there, no star. Okay, so this is a representation of a business partner where customer, supplier, uh, three objects are there and they are aggregated. That means they are combined. Okay, so how the aggregation takes place? There is a diamond link kind of shape. So one business partner can be connected to many customers. One business partner can be connected to many suppliers. Okay, so this is a model of representing the object business partner, customer, and supplier using aggregation. Okay, so aggregation actually like an encapsulation is basically hides the it not hides, it binds together various features. Okay, features and properties, like for example, what can be the various properties of can be the various attributes of a business partner, like for example, name, age, gender, date of birth, then address, phone number, isn't it? Same for them as well. Okay, so it acts like a class. It encapsulates all those information in a single object inside this only. So even if we're accessing each one of them, each of different methods, so for them as well, it will be um, it will be inside the object business partner. Okay, suppose for example, if I want to access business partner, the name, okay, of the business partner, so can I do that directly? No, I have to do that using the member functions of that particular class. Okay, so something like that. Then after class diagrams comes the interaction diagram. So see, whenever you are making a database kind of project, then in that case you have to use data flow diagram very nicely. You have to know the diagram and the tables, database design, you have to know it very nicely. If suppose you are implementing the project in if you're making a project, let's say in Android based kind, no, if you're making a gaming software, all right. So in that kind of situation, you will be making use of use cases, UML, then class diagrams and interaction diagrams. So you have to be very, if you are making, let's say, a research oriented project like using kind of making, I think Arbas, you want to make use in machine learning, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. So in that
Sir,
kind of scenario, you need to,
no, so like
yes, tell
right now
me.
I decided to just do it a chat room, not machine learning.
Okay, so how are you going to implement the chat room? And in
Uh,
what aspect it will work?
Sir, it will be a real-time chat room. So, the database won't exactly save the messages, but it will save the there will be like rooms. So the database will save the room number and room password and who created a room.
So it will be a complete database project.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then you will need the data flow diagrams, isn't it? You will need
Yes, sir.
ER diagrams, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and okay. Anyone who's working on the Android-based project in the class? Anyone? So we have seen about the class diagram. So interaction diagram basically are models that helps us to group different kinds of projects. Okay, we realize that there is some kind of common like behavior. Okay, so interaction diagram basically shows how uh, these objects basically collaborate or communicate with one another. That is the reason they are called interaction diagrams. Diagram, basically we come to know how different objects, okay, they pass on the messages among them within the use cases. Okay, so whenever we talk about interaction diagrams, there are two of them. One is the sequence diagram and the other one is the collaboration diagram. When you are working on any kind of mobile application or something like that, or maybe a Ludo, then you have to know very nicely how to make UML use cases. You have to know how to make the flow chart. You have to know how to represent the project in the form of class diagram as well as the interaction diagram. Okay, so interaction diagram, as we have said, that it's basically a kind of a model which shows us how the collaboration of the object takes place and how message passing is done between the objects. Okay. Then interaction diagrams are subdivided into two categories: sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. Okay. So in a sequence diagram, basically we see the interaction among objects in a 2D structure. Structure on chart is basically read from top to bottom. The objects participating in the interaction are shown at the top of the chart as boxes attached to a vertical dashed line. Now again, inside the boxes, name of the object is written with a colon separating it from the name of the class, and both the name of the object and the classes are underlined. The objects appearing at the top signify that the object already existed when the use case execution was initiated. However, if some object is created during the execution of use case and participates in the interaction, that the object should be shown at the appropriate place of the diagram when it is created. The vertical dashed line is called the object's lifeline. The lifeline indicates the existing of the object at any particular point of time. The rectangular drawn on the lifeline is called the activation symbol and indicates the object is active as long as the rectangle exists. So we will see with the diagram. Each message is indicated as an arrow between the lifeline of two objects. The messages are shown in ascending order from top to bottom. That is, reading the diagram from would show the sequence which the messages occur. Okay, so let us see. Suppose we have this one is one of the activity diagram, sorry, sequence diagram, how the sequencing of uh, this thing. of a book renewal use case of library automation software. So if we see here, first thing is that a sequence diagram shows interaction about objects in a 2D. The chart is read from top to bottom. The objects participating in the interaction are shown at the top of the chart. So let us see in this example how the objects are interacting with one another. So if you see here, there are many objects. We have library boundary, then we have library book renewal controller. These are the various objects. We have the library book register, we have the book, and then we have the library member. So each of the use cases are different. One basically will tell us about the boundaries or the conditions that are there in the library for renewal of books. Another one basically it's a use case which basically tells about guidelines or policies that may be there with regards to the book renewal. Another one is again which use case which keeps track of the registration, the books which has come to the library and they have been registered in the library, that these are the available books. Another object is the name of the use case which keeps track of the information related to the book like author name, title, price, okay, quantity. And the other object is basically it's a use case which keeps track of the members which are there, registered members which are there in the library. Okay. So this we have listed out. We have identified the objects. Then let us see next what is it saying. Uh, Inside the box name of the object is written with a colon separated from the name of the class, and both the name of the object and class are underlined. So if I go again, let us go. So here, if you look here, so what they have said is the name of the class. What is the name of the class? Library. Okay, class is underlined as well as the object name. So here, library. So what is the name of the class here? Boundary. Okay, what is the name of the class? Sorry, name of the object here is boundary. What is the name of the object here? Book renewal controller. What is the name of the object here? Book register. What is the name of the object here? Book. What is the name of the object here? Library member. We have to know the rules, then only we'll be able to make, no? Yes, we're separating it from the name of the class, and both the name and the class are underlined. Okay. The objects appearing at the top signify that the object already existed. However, is created during and and object is shown. Okay, called the object lifeline. Okay, so now see again in this diagram, if you see what these dotted lines represent. Here also dotted lines are there, right? Dashed lines. These dashed lines are basically the lifeline of the object which will be there. Okay, so that is basically the lifeline which is being represented here. That means suppose library boundary will be there up till the dotted lines will be there. Like, okay. The rectangle drawn on the lifeline is called the activation symbol and indicates that the object is active as long as the rectangle exists. Each message is indicated as an arrow between the lifeline of two objects. The messages are shown. Let us reading the diagram from top to bottom, which is each. Okay, all right, very good. Now, if you look here in this diagram again, when will this, suppose it's a total span of the lifeline span of this object, but when will this object be activated? When he'll become alive? So if you see these rectangular boxes are there, here also is there, here also is there, isn't it? Here also is there. If you see this one's lifespan is very short, isn't it? It is very short. Why? Because it's this object lifespan will be there only till this rectangular box is there. Once it will not be there. Okay, it is very much limited. All right. Similarly, here also the lifespan of this object is very less because if you see the height of this one is very small. Okay, so this point, let's say at the first part, the lifespan of this library boundary will be initiated. Then accordingly, it will like what are the activities it will do. So first of all, it will try to communicate with the next object by saying that, okay, we need to renew the book. Okay, so he will get that information. So this also is activated at the same point of time. And then if the book is renewed, it has to be renewed to a member, isn't it? So directly it will be then passing this message that we need to find the member who is borrowing the book, and accordingly that has to be updated in the record. So this message will be passed. Okay, so once this is passed, then updation has taken place. So now this controller's responsibility is that it has to tell that, okay, this renewal of book has been done and we will be displaying it. So he will be displaying it. It will not come to here because this object's role is just to update in the entries what are the books which have been borrowed. Okay, but since this from here the communication took place, right? So he's acting as the central role. So he will be basically be saying, okay, we will be, this is the list of the borrowed books which has to be displayed. Then in the next case, in this library boundary, we need to select, suppose it has given an instruction that we need to select the book. So again, this controller, what will it do? It will try to communicate. Okay, it will try to communicate to the number of books which is available. So it will say that, okay, books selected. Okay, then this part will be activated and this will try to search the book, which book we are going to, I mean to say what? We are going to find. So accordingly, if there is a response, then accordingly we will say that, okay, this book has been selected and it is reserved, and that message will be passed. If suppose in case that book which is being asked to find it's not there, then with an acknowledgement of apology or something, that will be taken care and this will be going to the boundary. The boundary actually will initiate everything, then the other things will be coming into play. Okay, then similarly, if suppose there are books which are to be registered, okay, new books have come, so what it will do, it will basically update the entries, and if some new books have been updated, then accordingly that will be confirmed to the like the one who is controlling the library confirming like management system. Okay, then similarly, if suppose this controller wants to update the details of the person who is borrowing the book, so he will update it accordingly here, and accordingly this will be confirmed to the people who is maintaining the records. Okay, now if you look at this, and this has the highest lifespan, but these are brought only when there was work. Okay, so after that the lifespan of the object expired. Okay, so accordingly that has to be seen. So this was basically the sequence diagram. Then another which comes under interaction diagram is the collaboration diagram also. So a collaboration diagram shows both structural and behavioral aspects explicitly. This is unlike a sequence diagram, which shows only the behavioral aspects. Okay, so in a collaboration diagram, we are showing both the behavior as well as the structural. Structural in sequence diagram also we have shown, no, the structure, how it works, but how it behaves, that is not being shown. So the structural aspect again of a collaboration diagram consists of objects and the links which exist between the objects. Okay. In this diagram, an object is also called a collaborator. So in our collaboration diagram, again we have two sides, structural and behavioral. In the structural, basically we in the structural aspect of this diagram, we have objects and how the objects are communicating, that is shown with the help of a link. Again, each of the object in this structural aspect of the diagram, they are called collaborator. Okay. The behavioral aspect is described by the set of messages exchanged among the different collaborators. Okay. So the various aspects, how the messages are being exchanged, okay, that is being shown in the behavioral aspect. The link between objects is shown as a solid line, not like this dashed line, and can be used to send messages between two objects. The message is shown as a labeled arrow mark placed near the line. Okay, so you will see they are not so difficult because since I think like most of you are doing for the first time, so it may be little bit of technical. Okay, but the thing is that you have to know, because this you will be using in your like when you will work also. Okay, so that's why you have to pay a lot of attention. You have to do a lot of practicing with different examples. It is shown as the label arrow placed near the link. Messages are prefixed with sequence number because they are only way to describe the relative sequencing of messages in the diagram. So if you look here, we have a library boundary. Okay, so in this library boundary, basically these arrows, if you see, are ways or means of how we are communicating with different objects. There also objects was there in the sequence diagram, but in the this collaboration diagram, objects will be there, but basically how these objects are communicating, that will be shown with these links which are connected. Then arrow also how this information is flowing. Okay, like for example, renew book. So from library boundary, it will be communicated to the controller that we have to renew this book. Okay, then accordingly, this will be communicated like how many books we have selected for renewal, isn't it? Accordingly, so that will be updated. So first, which book we have to renew? We have to find, okay, and then accordingly, that has to be renewed. Okay, similarly, let's say for example, if suppose there is a choice that we have to select a few books for, let's say, renewal. So again, this select books of like message will be given to this, then accordingly uh, he will pass the name of the books here from book selected message. Accordingly, this message will be cross-checked in the use case library book register, and then this one will be the book information will be given that these books have to be, let's say, like booked or something like that, and that the record has to be updated. Okay, if the books are not present, then what will happen? We have to give an apology. If the books are present, then it will be coming as a reserved thing, isn't it? Then for whom we will be reserving, then we need to find also the members, and accordingly we need to update. Okay. So if you see the sequence, first will be renewal of book, then for whom we are renewing, member for renewal. After that is done, once we have found the renewal for the like member for the book, we will be displaying it, isn't it? The name of the borrowers. Once we are displaying it, the name of the borrowers, then we need to select the book, basically, like which book we will be selecting. Then after that, going with the option that this is the books which we need to select. So accordingly, this object will pass the message to this object which is keeping track of the book to find the book. And then accordingly, if the books are present, then it will get a message that is reserved, and accordingly this will be updated that it is reserved. If suppose the books are not available, then what will happen? It will give a message that okay, we sorry, the books are out of stock, and accordingly this has to be updated. Okay, so whatever the information it is, the updated stock of the book has to be given here. Okay, so once that is done, then accordingly the library book register will be confirmed that this updation has to be taken place. So if you see the sequence 1, then second is 2, right? Then next is 3, 4, then next is 5. So you have to see the sequence of how things are being done, and also the collaboration. That means the message passing which is taking place between the various objects in the diagram. Okay, so that you have to see. It may be tough because it's first time, but we will be doing lot of examples so that it will become clear. And these questions are asked also in exam. Okay, you have software engineering practicals paper also where you have to draw DFD, you have to draw the ER diagram, you have to draw these activity diagrams, UML, collaboration diagrams. So in order to know them, you have to know these things very, very nicely. Okay, so 1 second. Activity diagram. Do you want to do today the activity diagram or you want to do tomorrow?